Welcome in to the first ever emergency episode of Overthinking Baseball Cards, Overthinking Ohtani. Jason at Contrarian Cards is my co-host. I'm Dave Schwartz, Iowa Dave Sports Cards. And I want to take us back to last Friday night and what Shohei Ohtani did. Just want to go over the stats a little bit of what might be considered and what could be considered, and in my opinion, what should be considered the greatest individual performance in a single game in Major League history. So just to set it up a little bit, at the time the game was going on, I was in Seattle, about a half mile from where the Mariners were playing Toronto in Game 5 of the ALCS. And there were grand slams, and Big Dumper was hitting a home run, and places were going crazy. And then the game ends, and people start trickling into the bar. And they start to watch, the Dodger game had started going at that point, and Shohei had homered in his first at-bat. I think he walked in his second at-bat. And we start seeing what's happening. And the crowd starts to buzz and starts to buzz and starts to buzz. He eventually moves to 2-0 as a pitcher in the playoffs, but that's just sort of a sub thing. That doesn't even necessarily matter. In one game, he pitches 6 innings, strikes out 10, gives up no runs, allows only 2 hits, hits 3 home runs, and picks up the win in the NLCS deciding game. So, Jason, to get us started on this, how did you consume that game?
Yeah. So Friday night, I started off just, like I watch any other baseball game. I was just watching it on TV with the dogs. I saw the first 3 strikeouts, and I was excited about that. And then, what I was really hoping for was that he would have one of those 2-way days where he just gets a bunch of strikes out a bunch of guys and then hits a home run. And he did that, leading off. So I was like, oh, there it is in the bag. And he's met the moment, and that's really what I was hoping for, was just that one of those classic 2-way performances in the postseason. So I'm sitting on my couch watching it, saw that. And I didn't know, at that point, are they going to win the game or not? Obviously I have a good feeling about it, but yeah. And then, gradually I watched a couple more innings, just on TV but eventually, my significant other, my girlfriend, she had been showering, so she was upstairs and she was done and all that. And we've been on a pretty good video game rhythm lately. We've been playing Overcooked, which is a sort of fun couples game on Nintendo Switch. And we've been playing every night, trying to beat all the levels and whatnot. So when she was done, she wanted to get going on that. And, I didn't want to, say, I need to watch this game or whatever, so I can't play Nintendo. So I just fired up Hulu on my phone, just kind of sat that off to the side and kind of turned the sound up and kind of watched the next few innings on there. I saw 2 of the home runs on my phone, I think I just saw the second one, the big bomb out to over the whatever. And then saw a couple more of the big pitching moments. And then I think by the time we had finished the game, I think I caught the last home run back on TV. So that was cool. But yeah, just wild. I think I exchanged a couple of messages. I think Shane, shout out Shoebox Legends, he hit me up with I think he just said like unreal or something like that. And then I think a couple other guys on Instagram I might have, just exchanged a message with or whatever. But yeah, it was wild, man. It was just one of the coolest moments ever. Like those, when he went to the Dodgers, that was the moment I had been waiting for. The classic, the 2-way. And I thought we had that with the Phillies game, but he didn't have it just didn't quite play out that way where, he gave up a couple runs or whatever. He ended up getting the wins and all that. But yeah, just to get the dominant pitching and the hitting in the same moment was just incredible. So
how long did it take for you from, maybe it was even during the game, maybe it was after the game, from when your mind turned from just experiencing what he was doing to also thinking about the place of his cards, what was going on?
Yeah. So this is the conversation I think everybody's probably here for. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, for all of us card collectors out there. So, Yeah, I knew pretty much instantly. I was like, because I'm aware of like what all cards I'm watching, and I have like a priority list and an urgency kind of scale. And for me, this is a fun moment because I really identify as a fixed price, buy it now, seller and buyer for the most part. That's where I feel I do most of my damage. So I have, 400 items on my eBay watch list. I think about 25 of those are Ohtani cards. And I've got kind of in the back of my mind, what the few best options are. And so I get really curious. I'm like, all right, which ones are going to start going first? And do I actually need any of these? Do I really want any of these? Do I want them right now? Are they more important than other cards? The urgency is rising, obviously, with this, potentially, the greatest baseball game ever played having just happened. So I'm like, you know what? I do like, this is not something I would typically do, but I did want to sort of just have a little souvenir, you know what I mean? So I knew of one item on my watch list that was very cheap, very affordable, and I thought it was a little bit underpriced. So I'm like, you know what? Throw an offer at it. See what happens. And they just sent me a counter that I thought was really, really fair. And just, so I'm like, all right, I got a card. That's cool. And then I think I'll pass it back to you. But the next couple days after that is where I think it gets more psychologically interesting for me. So what about you? What were your sort of first card thoughts?
My first thought was excitement and relief, because about a week and a half before the game, I found a copy of the card that I wanted most at a price that was reasonable. And I don't have it yet, so I don't, Jinx didn't say what it was. But I am using a funding service for it. It's always funny. Whenever I use a funding service, I always joke that I think I have like the bottom rung of this funding service, where it's always, I feel like he's looking at me through the computer thinking, why does this person need a funding service? But here's where I am, right? And I was relieved that I picked it up a week and a half ago before this game happened, because I don't know what would have happened. Either the person who was selling it, who I know and who I like, might not have wanted to sell it, or the price might have just come up. And so I didn't feel that pressure to go out and find something, because I know that something is on its way. And then, so that was really nice. Another thought that I had was, I have a larger Ohtani that I picked up about a year ago. And I thought, I'm going to put this up on eBay at a really high price just to see what happens. And it's not my favorite card, but it is my most valuable one. What cost and value and favorite are all different things as I see it. And I thought there might be someone right now who just bites at it. And then if someone were to purchase it, I could put the money in the bank and pay the mortgage, for a month, kind of a thing. And I did that. And I've had some nibbles, but not to where I want it to be. I'm comfortable holding it forever. But at the same time, I just wanted to see what would happen with it. And then the third thing is, I thought maybe now is the time to zag. As people are pivoting toward Ohtani, maybe now is when I look to Aaron Judge, as the Yankees are out. And I don't think anybody for even a moment would think that he is down. He just had an MVP caliber year and might win it. He's incredible, but they're not thinking about him. I thought about Mookie. I thought maybe, overshadowed by his own teammate. Maybe now is the time to move into that. So those are the cards that I've been looking at. I do have a couple of Ohtanis on my watch list. At night, when my emotional defenses wear down, I do think about just putting an offer on something.
Yeah.
But usually I'll just put the phone away and sleep on it, see how I feel in the morning. But to bring it back to the beginning of your question, where I am just really glad that I have the card that I want coming in once I am able to pay it off.
That's a great feeling. I like, I always laugh. I like that bottom rung of the funding tier. I'm so frugal. That would be me too. I'd want to get some sort of funding for like a $200 card or so, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, that's great. Like, I love all that. I like the relief sort of, you're already sitting on a good situation there card wise with your actions, sort of preceding the event. So I'll be really excited to see what that card was. I won't try to guess or give it away or anything. I have no idea what it is for the viewers.
I will put up one hint, just one
teaser
for whatever. Might not be here till Christmas, might not be here till Valentine's Day. Who knows? But I will say this: it is not a rookie, it's not an auto, and it's not a serial numbered.
Oh,
but it is very scarce. I'll
Okay.
just leave it at that.
I have an idea, or I have a couple ideas then. I won't say them, but yeah, interesting. Okay. That'll be very exciting. I'm very curious to see what that is. Are you comfortable sharing the one that you threw up on eBay, or do you want to?
Sure.
I think, is that the blue, the blue Dodgers blue one?
No.
Okay.
No, what you're talking about is the 2024 True Blue Topps Chrome Refractor. I did just get that back from PSA. I do about one PSA order per year. And it came back, got a 9. Like it. I'm just holding on to it.
But that's got to be an expensive card now, too.
It might be. I haven't really looked. I just got it back about 3 days before the big game.
Yeah.
And then quickly went out of town to Seattle. So I haven't really even thought about it.
I bet that's $1,000 card almost.
Maybe,
to be honest.
Maybe it's hard with Ohtani because I don't want to say stupid, but that convoluted 50-50 set that they put out last year at Topps did, it confuses everything.
Yeah.
Because if you want to put 50-50 into the description of the subject of the card, that's also what that other set is called. But that set is not as thought of or revered, so it just muddles everything. So yeah, maybe it is. I would enjoy it for now, I think.
You're going to keep it. Yeah, I would keep that card if I were not trying to give you, but like that, to me, that's such a core fundamental card. And you graded I've made that mistake before, like sold core cards that I graded myself, and I always regretted it.
Yeah.
That's a sick card. Yeah. I just saw the black Ray Wave of that, sell for $8,000 last night out of 10.
Okay.
And the Ray Wave's not a parallel with any sort of legacy or lineage. And I know the True Blue is obviously higher numbered, but that's just why I think that, I don't know. I have no idea what the price is on those right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's pushing a comma card at this point. But yeah, that's a cool card to have, especially right now. I'd be excited about that. So
that looks great. I was worried that might even get pushed down to an 8, and just because there was a little mark on the surface that I had not seen when I got it. And of course the seller didn't disclose it when I purchased it. But the more I looked at it, I think that that's actually part of the card itself, because I saw it on some other cards as well, and I didn't know which way it was going to go. So who knows why I got a 9, but I don't really care. I love it. So the card that I put up is a 2018 Topps 700. So the flagship, a black out of 67.
Okay, so that's the one. Which one is that? The one where he's
Series 2. It's his original Topps card.
He's pitching or hitting?
He's pitching.
Okay. And you have the black of that?
I do.
Oh my God, Dave! Jeez, that's so crazy, man. I didn't even know you had that. I should go back and look at your Instagram feed more.
I haven't posted it.
Oh, okay. Then I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
that's a sneaky little card to have. That's a
yeah. So it's about a year ago during that sort of December, January dip.
Yeah,
when it happened, and it was there, and it was the first time I'd use a funding service, and I used no money out of pocket whatsoever.
Jeez, that's crazy, man.
And I can't remember half the cards that I gave, to do it. I know it was a bunch of Pujols and Ichiro Golds, which was I like those, but you got to give up something to get something, right? And so that's the card.
That's a monster. Gosh, that's wild. That's a really good card. I'm not trying to shill for you here or anything, but yeah, that's a really nice item. You're just talking about Judge, and we're talking about 2018. I just got this the other day. I'm excited about. It's the Father's Day Judge with the Rookie Cup.
The 18.
Yeah. And it's the curious case of, this is an Ohtani episode, but just the Rookie Cup Judge 2018 is a cool card. We'll say that for another day, but yeah. Dude, yeah. Well, good luck with that. I hope you can get a big price if everything works out. I'm sure you could parlay that into something nice. So yeah, that's cool. Oh man. Yeah, I bought 2 cards. I will. You had bought one prior with the funding, so you're sitting on kind of that, and you're feeling content. It sounds like for the most part. There we go. Okay, so Dave threw up the 2018 black pitching 700 from Series 2. That's an incredible card, man. Just wild. Geez, dude, I would even if you got a massive offer, that would still be hard for me to sell, to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, same, but a couple of kids in college, you do what you do.
Hey, that's the move though. Just post it super high, and then if the price is just there's every card has a price as far as I'm concerned, because real life is a thing too, and you have to pay for stuff. So yeah, good luck, man. That's either way it's a win-win. You either get to keep one of his best cards or you get a bunch of money, so can't lose there. Yeah. So I bought a card. I'll just tell you. Well, I won't tell the specific parallel because I want to buy. I think the parallel is kind of sneaky, and I want to buy a couple more. But I did get a copy of his 2025 Series 2, the Dodgers, his first Dodgers pitching flagship card. That was one that I was really excited about, and I kind of talked about that a little bit on our last episode. I'm a big fan of Ohtani pitching cards. I just think that when we're talking about the greatest baseball player of all time, whether you think that's Babe Ruth or Barry Bonds or Ohtani, to me, it's I always just, whenever I'm in an argument with somebody about this kind of stuff, I'm just like, it's his pitching. He's a great pitcher, and combined with the hitting and all that. So I like those. I really wanted a copy of that card, especially in the moment, when he had just had that big game, hitting the home runs and striking out all the guys and winning the pennant. So I picked that up on Friday night. Not an expensive card. I think I spent about $70. So, not breaking the bank or anything. And then this morning, actually, maybe I was just hyped for doing this episode or whatever, but I picked up one more card, an Angels card. And yeah, I think I can talk about this one because I don't really think I'm going to cycle back to buy anymore, but I picked up the 2022 Topps Japan edition, the gold out of 25. So it sounds like kind of an obscure card. Probably not something I would buy for a lot of other players. But obviously with Ohtani, being from Japan, Japanese baseball player, I know the cherry blossom parallels from those sets are really popular. You can probably find my pickup there in Card Ladder if you want to see a picture of it. But yeah, I just thought I only have 6 Ohtani cards pre-Friday.
It's the right one.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't have a 2022 hitting. I just got back the 2022 pitching gold sapphire from PSA. And I was kind of looking over my Ohtani collection, and I'm like, what card would make sense? Because I do feel an increased urgency with kind of all of his fixed price stuff. And I was like, what? Okay. I was like, what do I want the most? What makes the most sense, both in terms of the price, in terms of the parallel, in terms of aesthetically, what do I like, all that kind of stuff. And I thought about a few different cards. I won't say what the others are just because I might, who knows, I might end up buying them too. But I just couldn't get that one out of my head. I just think it's a sharp looking card. You got the Japanese flag on there. It's a paper card in the gold border, but it's not out of the typical, like 2023 or whatever they do for the Series 1 or the flagship set. The Japan edition, it's a much more lower numbered parallel. So all things considered, most of my Ohtani cards are gold. So I thought this would be a great fit. I think that's a great image. The price was, borderline reasonable, probably overpaid a little bit, but I wasn't too concerned about it. Yeah. And so I was really excited about that. And now I kind of like you were talking about, just that feeling of contentment. And I felt okay after Friday night picking up that Dodgers parallel, but I really wanted something else. And I just felt like, these items are disappearing, here goes one, there goes another. And I'm like, I'm just going to grab the one that I want the most and call it a day. So that's where I kind of left it on the buying side of things. Yeah. And I feel pretty good about it. I'll be excited to get that card and kind of add it and just kind of maybe let things play out a little bit more market wise from here.
So in terms of how emotions and adrenaline play into it, as we're recording this, it's been about 3 days since the game. Has your mood or approach toward this altered at all? Have you come down a little bit, or are you still peaking?
Man, I think it's just been reinforcing a lot of it might be trending up, to be completely honest, because I think I've just been so hyped on modern baseball, like a lot lately, even just this past year. Like almost all my big purchases in 2025 have been baseball. And for those who don't know, I don't just collect baseball. Like I was a big Star Wars card collector, a big 2000s football card collector, a non-sport collector, non-sport vintage. But really, my attention has almost totally shifted to ultra modern baseball. And Otani is just obviously a massive catalyst for that. But I like a lot of guys, like you were talking earlier in the open about potentially, other players that have a little bit less attention on them. Judge, Trout, Lindor, Mookie. I bought a big Soto card recently. I bought my first Tarek Skubal card recently. So there's a ton of guys I'm excited about. And I think that was a big thing about just like sort of capturing this moment with a pickup or two, is that it just, these opportunities don't come around all of the time. It's like Christmas, New Year's is going to be here soon. People in our culture now, our attention spans are basically so just nothing. Like people will move on and care about other things more than this. But right now it's a big moment for us as, baseball card collectors, Ohtani fans, whatever kind of angle you want to take on it. So I think for me, it's just a lot of validation about like, it's been so weird to me. Like this whole category of ultra modern baseball in this era has just felt still, it's like the most obvious thing in the world, like baseball cards, everybody knows baseball cards, but it's like still sort of just under the radar. And we're talking about like Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, but then, basketball and football, hobby wise, just consume so much of the, the conversation. Baseball has felt just sort of like a third place for a while. And, part of that's the Topps and Panini of it. But yeah, so to me, it's just, it gives you a little bit of angst though, because you feel that sense of things changing when you see these prices. And it's like, I'm not going to be able to buy, Ohtani Heritage Golds for $500 anymore. That is never going to happen again. Like that ship has so sailed. And just to get that caliber of card, it's like, I'll probably never afford, I think even super fractors for like, a lot of the, non-Ohtani guys are just probably just, I'm probably going to be priced out of those already if I'm not. So yeah, I'm excited about the cards I have, but I don't have anything to sell either, really. So it's like there's that kind of element to it where it's like my collection just is what it is now. I've already sold everything that I could that I wanted to. I have some stuff that I could sell, but I don't really want to. Yeah, so it's a lot of it. Just a lot of excitement, a lot of just sort of how am I going to navigate this moving forward? What about you? Where are you at?
I'm in an okay spot. What I'm thinking about are some friends, one friend in particular, who has been methodical and deliberate and patient in all the ways that we would advise someone to be patient before making a big purchase. No one knew what was going to happen with that game on Friday. And now everything is spiking. And his very sensible plan of waiting for the November, December, January lull, we were just chatting over the weekend, is not even going to happen. It happens with mostly all baseball cards. It's natural. We come across to the holidays. It's the off season. Spring training hasn't happened yet. There's always a little bit of a dip. But now here we are at the tail end of the 2025 baseball season. And when things are winding down, Ohtani is ramping up. And he was saying, oh, I waited too long, but he didn't. He did the right thing. Nobody could have seen this coming. We all sort of hoped there might be a game like this someday. We didn't think it was going to be the closeout of the NLCS when it happened. And now he's wondering if he missed the boat. He's wondering if he should maybe change the trajectory or the expectations of what he wants. And I promise this is not me talking, I'm not talking about some fake person. I'm talking about someone who I don't want to say who because I don't have permission necessarily to talk about it by dropping his name. But he was just, in a way, he was almost inspiring with how patient he was being, because I'm anything but patient. And he was waiting for like just the right autograph, Ohtani, to come along. And now, what do? if you were waiting, if you did the right thing, if you were patient, what do you do now? Do you wait for the lull? The lull being that part of the player's career when they're in their mid to late 30s, when production starts to drop and everyone's attention turns to something else that's more sparkly and shiny. Is the right play, if you want to hold Ohtani long term, is it to buy him in 2031? Is that now the play? Is it just going up and up and up the way Trout was going up and up until finally around 23 people realized he's just hurt now. He is what he is, and he's had that slow descent down. So I really do feel for those who wanted to get into a little bit of a higher end Ohtani card, who wanted to have that keepsake type card, or even those who wanted to make an investment and now can't even do that. My heart does go out to them a little bit, because I don't see a solution here other than to really wait and to hope. But that's out of your control. When you lose that autonomy, when you lose that sense of being able to do what you want with your own collection and cards, and to feel helpless in the card sense, not in the life sense, but in the card sense, that sucks, right? Because, I follow cards. When I get cards, I try to get them at the best price possible, but I certainly would never call myself an analyst or an investor or anything like that. But I know enough to know that, November through early January is the time to go. But I think for one of the first times, we're going to see an example here of what happens when a card continues to soar, or a player's cards continue to soar through the offseason. And I'll be really curious what the attitude and approach to him is during spring training next year when it begins in February. Where are people going to be on Ohtani cards? Especially if the Dodgers win another series and he plays reasonably well this week and next when the World Series begins. I don't have an answer. I can only speculate and guess at where it's going to go, and I think it's going to keep going up for a while.
Also, the WBC is coming up this before next season, and we remember what happened the last time we had that. I would tell your friend, I would say don't give up on that. I think that process is spot on, and that's my process too. And I'm still hopeful. I do not have faith in people's ability to stick with things. I just fundamentally believe no matter how hot. Another thing too, it's like with Ohtani, I was talking to kind of like you did. I'll protect the privacy of this individual, but what they said to me, it's a good friend of mine, and I really respect their opinions. They said that Ohtani has surpassed Griffey in the hobby, or met Griffey's level or whatever. And I would say he's gone far beyond that. But the interesting part though, is just because he has as a baseball player, in my opinion, doesn't mean his cards are as good as Griffey's cards. You know what I mean? Like I think that's another thing we have to really think about. Like, and that's what I've been thinking about a lot with 2025. I'm like, are these good cards? Like some, of course, are. Some are less good. But to me, Ohtani has become the closest thing we have to a Jordan in cards or in the hobby. In the time and the moment that we're in, it was kind of Mahomes, in basketball, maybe it was LeBron for a while or Kobe, but the big difference here, the big overarching difference to me when you're talking about these other guys, it's like Mahomes was too close in proximity to Brady. I mean, they literally played each other in the Super Bowl. LeBron and Kobe too close to Jordan in terms of time. With Ohtani, I don't know if people fully comprehend this. We're talking about Babe Ruth, and that's a big Babe Ruth. I'm wearing an Elvis shirt today. Babe Ruth reminds me a lot of Elvis, like just in terms, you're talking about this mythic legend, you know what I mean? And now we're talking about a modern day person, a 31-year-old that's surpassing this person in the minds of many. So that's where it just gets really mind blowing. I'm rewatching Baseball right now by Ken Burns. I didn't realize PBS has a streaming app for like $5 a month, which is an incredible value because you get access to all that stuff. But I just finished the bulk of the Babe Ruth content, and it was really interesting watching that now within our current moment. Yeah, and just to me, that's the really, and I think for a lot of people, that's just really what's really sparking a lot of this is just like we're talking about Babe Ruth here and Shohei Ohtani. And I know a lot of people like Bonds and Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and Ty Cobb and all this stuff, Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson. There's a lot of legends, but there's two that keep coming up in the same conversation. And most people, most of the, a lot of the baseball minds that I respect the most have put Ohtani past Ruth for a long time now, not just since Friday, but for the last couple of years. And it's, you don't have to pick one or the other. I don't care. This is all subjective stuff. It's not a right or a wrong answer, how you think about these things. So no judgment cast if you don't agree with me, but to your friend who's waiting, even with all that being said, the supply of a lot of these cards now, it does depend though. You were talking about maybe a high-end autograph or a certain type of item. They're probably looking for something very specific. Yeah. I mean, this stuff might never be cheap again in terms of those types of cards, or even affordable, depending on your price range. But for me, I see a ton there, dude. There's like 10 cards on my watch list right now that I think are still underpriced, like relative to where they should be. His Angels stuff relative to his Dodgers stuff, I think is just still not getting enough respect. I have two offers. I have two gold sapphire PSA 10s. I have one from 2024 and one from 2022. The PSA offer on the Dodgers one is like over 2 times higher than the Angels one, which is from 2 years earlier. Same pop and all that stuff. So it's just interesting to me. I don't think Ohtani suffers from the different uniform sort of thing. Like when I think about Lindor, like I have no interest in any of his Cleveland cards. He's a Met to me. I think Soto's struggling from that kind of stuff right now with his bouncing around, but Ohtani overrides all that stuff. He looks great in Angels stuff. All those cards are special. Those sets were special. We talked about 2018 and 2019 on our card design episode and just all that kind of stuff. You showed the black earlier. That's just one of the most incredible cards. So I would tell your friend to stay hopeful. It's hard to tell somebody maybe shift maybe look at some different cards or some different types of cards. But like, I still think you can get great Ohtani stuff right now for like $200-$300, like low numbered stuff. Depends on what you consider as low numbered though. Like I bought that Japanese parallel for, it's out of 25. It's good enough for me. A few $100. I think stuff like that's perfect. So,
yeah. Do you think, as you mentioned the whole Angels Dodgers thing, and the other player that came to mind when you said that in my opinion looks good in both uniforms that they wore is Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great in the classic Red Sox, looks great in the Dodger blue. You mentioned Griffey before, whereas he looked great in Seattle, but I cringed at when the Cincinnati Reds, it wasn't quite the same. But I want to linger on Ruth a little bit. Mm-hmm. This idea of, is he better, different, whatever the question might be. Pitching wise, he's better than Ruth was. Hitting, he's just not there based on the sheer, the counting stats that, in my opinion, that Ruth put up. He's not there. That being said, what he does have is that he's modern, is that he's current. Mm-hmm. That there's going to be a generation or generations of baseball fans and of baseball card collectors and investors and whatever term you want to use, in which he's not going to be an abstract idea the way that Ruth is. Ruth is in the history books. Jackie Robinson is also in the history books, but you can still feel Jackie Robinson's effect. Mm-hmm. Babe Ruth is no effect. He was just a big, jolly, drinking, home run hitting machine, right? But Ohtani's going to have that modern edge to him. And you brought up Jordan. that's where a lot of people who now have income, that's why Jordan is so big in the hobby, is because one, he probably was one of, if not the greatest player of all time, but he was great at a time when people now are at their highest point of earning potential, so they can sink all that money into him. And who did he replace? Like, who was the best before Jordan? It's debatable. Kareem, maybe. Bill Russell, maybe. George Mikan, doubtfully, but at least could have a conversation about him. There's nobody current, card-wise or performance-wise, who is on Ohtani's level. It should have been Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Bonds would have been the person, but of course we know what Bonds is alleged to have done, and that really taints a lot of our perception of him and makes some of us not want to collect his cards or revere him or vote for the Hall of Fame or whatever it happens to be. That was his competition. It would have been Bonds. That was his modern competition. Or Trout.
Mm-hmm.
Trout being the other one, the 3 MVPs all in that same decade. But man, has he gone south? Maybe he's in the lull, and maybe we'll look back at this moment and think, boy, did we miss the boat with Mike Trout.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's going through the same trajectory as so many other players who just got old and broken. But when you look at their peak, we're actually maybe tremendous. I think that might be the one we are not thinking enough about. I don't think so. I've never seen anything like this with Ohtani. Just like you, I've been a baseball fan forever. I try not to be hyperbolic. I try to be rational with things, but there's, I had another friend who's not a card collector, but he is a baseball fan. We've been friends for years, and he wrote back. He goes, "Oh, he's one of the best players of this generation." I said, "No, he's one of the best players of any generation."
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, I think he needs to be thought about accordingly. And I certainly would not, on any level, begrudge anybody right now who is going out and trying to buy Ohtani cards. And that kind of takes me to where I want to go next, which is sort of this guffawing and this backlash and the ha-ha. And here's a chart I'm going to put up on my Instagram story to show why you are stupid to buy Shohei Ohtani right now. And I don't think I've ever felt more strongly in my life that I want those charts to go away. People who are putting those up are missing the point or are just wrong. What do you think about that?
Well, and it just like I was saying earlier, it depends on the card. I mean, there's cards right now of Ohtani that I think are extremely underpriced. And then there's cards of Ohtani that I think are extremely overpriced. So we're talking about thousands of options here. We're not just all worried about the Bowman Chrome, whatever refractor. Like I bought today a 2022 Topps Japan edition gold out of 25 PSA 9. Like most people probably don't even know that card exists. So those are the kind of cards I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about any commodity card. I'm not thinking about any 2025 Black Ray Wave for $8,000. That kind of stuff is not even registering in my mind as like viable. But again, I don't know. I mean, it's everything is so subjective, and it's so individualized. That's why I love the hobby. It's so I love this like these last 2 days have been so fun because there's so much strategy to be done. And most of it comes down to pulling yourself back from the brink and having self-restraint. Like I'll see these options. I'm like, yeah, that's a great card. It probably is a little underpriced. It probably is, something I should move on. But also, here's a great Mike Trout card. Here's a great Tarek Skubal card. Here's a great Mookie Betts card. It's like, I like all these guys. And I think they all work well together as a collection of baseball cards. I would love to have a Babe Ruth card, but it's like, I love the decision making that we all have to do now. And the people that are saying, oh, you're an idiot, you're overpaying, this, that, and the other, they're going to come down. I mean, some will, of course. I mean, that's like saying, it's going to rain someday next year. Obviously, if you pick, some cards are going to go down, some are going to go up. Like you have to decide, and you have to navigate that, and you have to make good choices and what's right for you and what's not. And what do you like? What do other people like? What do you like more than the market? What do you like less than the market? All this kind of stuff. So So yeah, it's just those blanket statements are just I don't take those seriously. I don't, to me, I mean, I'm in collecting mode with Otani. Like I only had I had 6 cards that I'm very proud of. But I wanted to add more. I still want to add more. If I can, like if I had more disposable income, I'd be buying a lot more. But it's hard to sell anything right now that's not Otani, but I don't have any Otani to sell, but I want to buy Otani. So I'm in this quandary here. It's hard to buy any card right now that doesn't have a picture of Ohtani on it because I'm so in the zone for Ohtani. But then it's also hard to buy any card that does have Ohtani on it because they're kind of expensive and sort of, so it's tough. But yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, that's one of like kind of the only negatives about times like this is it brings a lot of people out of the woodwork with a lot of opinions and whatnot on market dynamics that aren't necessarily helpful and such. What are your thoughts on that?
I try to think about motive, why they're doing it. I think some of them come from a real place of generally trying to help.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, this has happened before. Look at player X, look at player Y. And I think in this case, Ohtani does not follow as player Z along that line. He's somewhat of a different beast, if you would. But I don't think everyone is trying to necessarily say, look at me, I'm now the authority. I think they're actually trying to help, saying, just be careful of what you're doing. But I do think that those people do exist. I think that there are some who don't understand the moment. I think that there are some who are. There's always a carnival barker. There's always going to be the P.T. Barnums, the ones who are looking for where the attention is and then thrusting themselves into the limelight, if you will, and can't help themselves. In a sense, they're just going to be naysayers or contrarians, and there's a place for that. And I can be that way sometimes with certain things. So who knows why they're doing it necessarily? I'll just assume A, that they come from a good place, and B, that I don't have to listen to them. And if they're there, I'll just kind of move on past their page, and I'm sure they'll be onto something else soon enough.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Like if you're, I haven't seen any of this, so I'm just kind of imagining what kind of the angle is. But I mean, if you're talking about like PSA 10, whatever high pop Ohtani rookie card sold for X number of thousand, of course it's going to come down. Like it's obviously completely overpriced right now, but I guess I just don't know anybody that buys cards like that. I have such a niche, like hardcore modern collector friend group. Like I don't know anybody that's going out to buy those types of cards right now. I mean, who could even afford them really? But yeah, I mean, yeah, don't buy. I mean, that would be my general advice too. It's like, don't buy anything that's not rare, that's very expensive, just in the very basic sense of the word. If it's, not rare, very expensive, that's a bad combination. If it's rare and affordable, I like that combination. If it's rare, affordable, and you like it, that's the perfect spot to be. You know what I mean? If you want to keep it, that's where I'd be looking. And that's why I'm so excited about those 2 cards I bought. Because yeah, it's the kind of stuff I'm looking for that I can afford, that's hard to find and looks great, connects all the dots. But it's a big hobby. A lot of different people doing a lot of different things. And yeah, a lot of people are going to lose money for sure. Yeah, it's a whole big ball of fun.
Have you allowed yourself to think about what's going to happen or what it's going to feel like if he goes off again in the World Series?
That's what I'm wondering. Like I was kind of thinking that about Vladdy too when we were talking last. I'm like, I'm kind of hyped on Vlad right now, but if he, if the Blue Jays just sort of flame out, like, am I going to care really? I think I'll always like Vlad. I wouldn't mind having a Vlad card, but with Ohtani, I mean, he can obviously add to it. I mean, he's going to get at least probably one more pitching two-way game, so that's going to be impressive to see a two-way Ohtani in the World Series. I think even if he just, has a decent outing on the mound and gets a hit or two, that would be just incredible. That would just add to it. And that's all I was hoping for in this postseason generally. So he's already far surpassed that. That's another thing with him too. He's really met the moment, and Trout has just never had that opportunity. But you think about Ohtani last year, he was hurt kind of in the World Series. That first game, he sort of got a little banged up, I think. And then it was, so his shoulder, he didn't have that sort of just presence about it. And it was a little bit different. He had the big season, but the postseason sort of moment wasn't there. He had the WBC, he had the 6 for 6. And to think now what he did on Friday night just sort of pretty much puts those, pretty clearly second and third place is pretty impressive. So I don't even know, like, if, I don't know. I mean, if they lose the World Series, which is highly possible, I mean, this is not a, all-time great Dodgers team. Their rotation is phenomenal, but, nobody's like, there's, this year in baseball, there's no like superpower teams really. So I don't know. I could see the Blue Jays or the Mariners, winning. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. His trajectory is just so, it's going to keep trending up, I would think, just in terms. But again, it comes back to the cards, though. The supply. Nobody talks about the supply and just all the parallels. There's these Dodger cards, man, to me are very, very risky business. Like if you're like, and a lot of it comes down to just how many variations there are of the colored patterns. Like for the golds, if you go back to 2019, you're talking about a wave and a true gold. You're talking about like 100 cards. Now you're talking about a gold sapphire, a gold ray wave, a gold wave, a true gold, a gold sparkle, a gold, logo fractor, and then variations of that. You're talking about thousands of gold parallels out of 50 that are selling for, close to $1,000 or whatever. That's where it gets really kind of shaky for me. So.
Great. I'm good. Anything else from you, Jason?
No, I would just say in closing, because I know a lot of people have strong feelings about this, like in terms of, who and they think is, the greatest baseball player of all time and that type of thing. And I don't really have any interest in trying to convince anybody. I think it's a really fascinating and fun discussion. If somebody told me that Babe Ruth's the greatest player of all time, or Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, or Satchel Paige, Josh Gibson, I wouldn't think they were necessarily wrong. I think it's really fun. I think people do get carried away sometimes in terms of trying to convince other people that their subjective opinions on things are the end all be all. But we're just talking about baseball cards. But it's a fun time to be a baseball fan. It's a fun time to be a modern collector and a vintage collector, because all these things connect. So yeah, I hope everybody is having a blast with all of this stuff.
Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. As we signed off our last episode, we said, hey, we'll see you next month. But then Ohtani happened. But this time we actually mean it. We will see you next month. Thanks for joining.
Appreciate it.